Hello and welcome back to Rural Vermiculture. Hey, past few videos I've been worrying about moisture problems. It's not too big of a problem just yet, but it has been right on the edge of it. And I'm trying to keep a watch on it. See, all the water don't just pull up down here like it did the last time. That's a good thing. So hopefully things are a little better in here. I did a top feeding of the worm chow the last time I was in here as well. That's a bit different for them. Going to see how they've done on that. It looks like they've been wandering around their bin. Not used to all these castings up here at the top. A few worms down there so far, and their newspaper's starting to get a little bit hard to deal with. Starting to see springtail activity now. Hopefully that won't get out of hand, but if past has taught me anything, it will. But springtails are nothing too bad to worry about. They actually help to break down the compostable organic materials and actually help the worms out, so they're nothing too bad to worry about there. It's not going to indicate any problems. It's just not exactly a solution. Okay, so we're seeing some mold here, and I did see quite a few worms over here that darted down into their bedding pretty quickly whenever I pulled back the newspaper or the sale ad. This mold on top, this is where I put the top feeding of the worm chow. And I said the last time I wouldn't worry about that too much if they hadn't eat it all. And there's a few worms hanging right. There's a good little cluster of worms right here. I often wonder if y'all could see this stuff as good as I can. Probably not. But then if I'm watching them later after I've uploaded them, it does seem to be a bit clearer. But if you've been following this worm bin since I harvested the worms from the compost bucket, you'll remember that there weren't too many smaller worms to be seen. And now that's the majority of what we're seeing in this bin now, is just smaller worms, wisp and juveniles. It's kind of looking like we got some pumpkin left over from the last feeding. I'll get in here and pull all that back. The worms are around the feeding zone pretty good. I like to call it a feeding area. a lot of people using feeding zone. I don't want to seem too cliche. I'm going to gather all these bits over here to the side. Get off there, wormy. Sure aggravate them a bit, getting in here on them like that. They're all hanging around the feeding area pretty good. Adults, wisp and juveniles all alike. And there's some mold. So, I don't know. It's kind of good that the moisture is calming down some. And there's a lot of bedding in here too. That bedding will absorb the juices from the pumpkin and whatever else I feed them. I was wanting to feed them some. Lettuce. I was looking at these little worms crawling through the cardboard. It distracted me. Okay. I think I'm just going to gather all this out of the way, and like I said a few times, I like to stir the bedding up every now and then. To make sure it don't become anaerobic. For whatever reason, it seems like they ain't been eating their food as good as they were. And I don't necessarily see that as a problem. But I want to slow down on them here a little bit. I don't want to get overzealous and overfeed them. I've got more pumpkins sitting to the side here, some lettuce, some other goodies for them, but I don't believe I want to give it to them this time. Hope y'all can see all these worms. I mean, it's not like there's thousands of them in here, but if you've been following this from the beginning, this bin, from when I harvested them from a outdoor composting bucket that was in the ground, then yeah, you'll know that, yeah, this is quite a bit more worms than what I started with. Quite a bit. And the lower down in the bucket or bin I go, their bedding is feeling thick. Anyways, kind of clumpy. So yeah, it's good to get in there and break that up. And there's a piece of eggshell I want to get out of the way there. So the looks like the top portion of the bin has been drying out, or not drying out, but yeah, kind of. I mean, the moisture isn't as great in it as it was, which is nice. but in the bottom it's not had the chance to evaporate quite like the top has. It amazes me just how many juveniles are in here. Along with the wisp, the juveniles, they're a lot easier to spot than the wisp. Sometimes you almost have to get lucky to spot a wisp. They're just so small. I think I did, yeah, just did. There's a little wisp. Not that one, he's a juvenile. Get off here. We're not after you. Okay, let's see here. Here's the wisp. He's just a little fella. Sure they're ready for me to get out here and quit bothering them already. But I just like to get all this good and mixed up. And when I'm done, make a little cavity to throw their food back into them that they have been eating. I'm not going to give them another feeding this time. So this won't be labeled as their 8th feeding. It'll just have to be labeled as their bin maintenance. I was sure hoping to be able to feed you guys. But sometimes you just gotta be patient. Give them time to work things down. There sure is a lot more worms in here than I started with. And I wish I'd used better sense or had something a little better on hand to put all this in instead of just a lid. Sometimes we cost ourselves a little more work than what had to be. And that's okay. That'll be okay, actually. It's not like the end of the world, but it got a dirty lid. Okay, spread this stuff around, try to break it up a little bit if I can without harming any worms. Which there's also cocoons mixed up in this. And I have seen fresh cocoons in this mix. So they're still breeding, they're still eating, They're just taking their time with it, and that'll be all right. I don't see any problems. I don't smell any funk. All appears to be okay. So yeah, kind of hate not feeding them, but give them a little bit of coffee grounds anyways. They probably are out of coffee grounds. And they'll be annoyed at me for that too. Dropping some dry foods in on top of them, but they'll get over it. They'll crawl out into some moisture and get it off on them, and they'll come back at it and eat it. Alright, see if I can do any justice with spreading this thing out. Yeah, not so bad. Not bad at all. Okay. Make sure I ain't got any little wisp on my hands, any worm babies. Appears to don't. Well, if you enjoyed the video, give me a like. If you're not a member of the channel and you'd like to, subscribe, and if you'd like to follow what I'm doing and know whenever I put out another video, hit the bell for notifications, and thank you for watching.